Less Than Expert has partnered with Cozy Earth so we can offer you 21% off on luxurious bamboo bedding and pajamas loved by everyone from Oprah to Kris Jenner to Katie and myself and countless other customers. Get the ultimate softness and cooling comfort and enjoy this exclusive discount. Enter LTE at cozyearth.com. Introducing Copper North. Copper North offers 100% silk, copper-infused pillowcases. Copper is a natural antibacterial and collagen-boosting ingredient. It's going to help soften fine lines, reduce inflammation and breakouts, and help maximize your skincare routine overnight. Visit coppernorth.com and enter LTE at checkout for your 15% off.
Introducing Zevo Life, an exclusive patented superfood. They harvest plant protein. So if you're on a protein crazed diet like Katie and I are right now,
Yeah.
this is a really good option to supplement. I love taking my greens in the morning when I first start my day.
I feel like I'm getting a daily dose of vegetables and vitamins.
So Zevo Life is giving our listeners 30% off. So go to zevo.life and enter promo code LTE at checkout. We have found a fantastic skincare brand called Love Indus, and they sell Botox in a tube.
And I can attest, I've been using it for a couple of weeks and I am actually seeing results from it. So I like it.
They're giving us 21% off, and that's loveindus, INDUS.com. Enter promo code LTE at checkout. Tona Activewear.
I love the pant.
They're all I want to reach for.
Everybody talks about buttery soft. These things are buttery soft. They also stay put.
And when you do the squat test, they're not sheer. They feel luxurious. They feel thicker, but they're not. They're thin. They're light. They wear really well. And I've been wearing them every week.
Oh, yeah.
Also, y'all, my butt looks good in them. It does. I have to say, toot toot. I'm going to toot my own horn. It looks really good in them. We can offer our listeners 16% off with the promo code LTE at checkout. So for our listeners, go to tonaactive.com and enter LTE at checkout.
Welcome back to the Less Than Expert podcast. We are your hosts, Amanda
and Katie.
and we are so excited to wrap up this layoff series for you.
We really are.
This has been something we've been talking about for months. Y'all are probably all tired of it. You know what? We're ready to be done too. We had quite the journey getting HR reps to actually talk to us.
Understandable.
Understandable. They take their jobs very seriously. It is very sensitive.
They don't want to get fired.
They don't want to get laid off, right? Touche.
I mean, samesies.
They're being careful. And they're very wise. So here's what we did. We interviewed multiple HR reps across multiple industries, all anonymously. So we're not giving names, company names. We'll give some industry context so you have an idea. But what we did is we wanted to get a range. So for instance, we interviewed folks, obviously we work in advertising since we're in advertising, technology, for software companies, and for product companies. So direct to consumer product. And we had a really great roster of HR reps who were willing to talk to us off camera,
Anonymously.
on the record, but anonymously. So that is what we did. And we've compiled all of their notes, their questions. So we are going to dive right in. And this is very timely because just this week, as we're recording, Snap laid off
Oh,
16% of
another one?
people. Another one. This is happening all the time. 1,000 people, they closed 300 recs. Their reasoning, AI was a big one for them. And you're really only seeing that in tech companies. That's one of the questions we've asked all of our HR reps is, what's leading to this? Investor pressure is another big reason. And so their stock went up 7% immediately with this.
That's so...
It's what a gross world. I think before we even dive in, I think we are headed toward a union for American
People?
workers.
Just workers in general.
We didn't do a deep dive into Europe. We didn't look globally. There are certainly more benefits globally that we could do a follow-up. If you're interested, let us know. We're happy to do that. We saw this with automation and globalization. We saw blue-collar workers getting hit. Now we're seeing white-collar workers getting hit. I think we are looking at a big shift because where are these people going to go?
Yeah. No, I mean, you see so many people that are jobless looking for work right now, but And
Yeah, or golden handcuffed.
yeah, and it's just, and I mean, you hear more and more of the large people, like the people running the large tech companies saying, you know, there's not going to be a ton of jobs in the future.
They're
So,
Yeah, and when these folks are building and developing the technology or telling you that, you need to be paying attention. And that's part of why we are driven to do this is because this is happening so often. The market's not great. I mean, we know some folks who are finding jobs, but a lot of folks who are wanting to, but there's just nothing to
yeah,
go to. And so there seems to be stagnation at this point. So let's dive in. We have tons of notes, a really interesting research on how employment even works, what the WARN Act is. We'll get into some of that. We'll try not to get too technical, but enough so that you're informed and have information that you can work with. The first big question we asked everyone: what's driving current layoffs? And we got a smattering.
I know. I mean, we kind of prefaced with some answers for them, like, is it AI? Is it restructuring? Is it you're trying to please your investors? And basically they said, yeah, it's all those things. Some companies right now, I mean, in our industry, we've seen lots of restructuring, lots of companies being pushed together, and it's outplacing so many people.
Yeah, because the company, if they're making an acquisition, there is a tool or an offering, a business unit that they want to absorb. But what that means is it's creating redundancy in the business because a lot of those roles will have already existed in the whatever company's getting acquired. So in our case, Omnicom just acquired IPG, and there was a lot of redundancy in the roles. And so they had to do significant thinning out. And our CEO of the company talked about that. It was in the prospectus, something like 4% of the workforce, which I think was even low at the time. And that's just par for the course there. So restructuring, when you have mergers and acquisition, also just client loss.
Yeah. The writing's on the wall there. Like,
Right.
especially in advertising, if you suffer a big client loss, there's gonna be casualties from that.
And that one is almost a best case scenario because you're going to be impacted.
Yeah.
Your team will be impacted. That one's very clear. Investor pressure. So if you are part of a holding company, a public company, investors who, not the individual investor, but let's say a Vanguard might be a priority stakeholder in a company, they might apply pressure, or private equity might apply pressure to a business to make their bottom line look bigger. So in the case of Snap, that was one of the reasons why they did these layoffs. And unfortunately, the markets reacted so that their shares went up 7% instantly just at the news of these layoffs. So it's pretty gross.
Um, for AI, I do feel like people or companies are trying to stay away from blaming AI so far. I mean, it can only go on for so long, I think. But from what I've seen, it does feel like they are trying to not blame AI yet.
So the folks that we talked with, their industries had not been hit yet. So again, product, some software companies, and then advertising, marketing. But we are seeing this with the tech leaders. So Snap and Oracle,
They're telling
Microsoft.
us.
Yeah. And so that's where you're seeing those AI layoffs right now. But you're right. I think it'll trickle down. It's not the main reason why these layoffs are happening right now. It's coming down to money.
Yep.
At the end of the day, money. And we talked to these reps about, okay, there seems to be a lot more momentum. Layoffs are happening now all the time instead of once every couple of years. No one really had a good answer for that other than this is just there's more restructuring, companies are getting bigger and bigger, and so they're thinning out roles, duplicate roles. That was the best answer we got. No one really had a clear cut response to that.
Yeah.
We dug into, okay, for our listeners, what are some of the warning signs when there is a layoff coming? And this varied, but the consistent answer we got is if your HR teams and managers know what they're doing, there are no warning signs
Yep. You're not gonna know. It's gonna come out of nowhere.
because those conversations are happening at a very high level. It should be very discreet. It should be business as usual. So if your company is a well-oiled machine, we've talked about this before. Katie and I have been with our company for a long time, so
Yep.
we recognize the signs.
But for the most part, I mean, early on, you didn't know. They kept it very quiet. And if you did know, somebody was probably gonna be getting in trouble
Right. Yeah, for saying
for
something.
saying something.
It is unprofessional to be talking about this out loud in mass. And so that's the big thing is there's a lot of planning that goes into it. 3 to 6 months is typical because you have a lot of layers that this has to go through. So we talked about the reasons, might be restructuring, maybe there's a client loss, a list starts to get generated. So maybe it's that client team, maybe it's a certain department that's impacted, and that list gets a lot of eyes on it. So it gets sent up to legal to check for red flags. Can we lay this person off? Are we putting the company at legal risk? That was very interesting to get that feedback and who's protected. So if you're on leave, you are protected. There's no formal window once you get back. A lot of the companies were honoring, 2 weeks, a 30-day window.
But sometimes I just
They would just
don't.
lay as soon as you get back, it's like, here are your options, or you're getting laid off and here's the reason why. So yeah, a lot of planning that goes into it, a lot of reviewing of, okay, are we looking at age? Are we looking at gender and race? Are they on leave? So this list doesn't just happen overnight. Layoffs are well planned and executed. We as the individual contributor will be blindsided by it maybe, but it is something that a lot of people have looked at before they actually get executed. Let's talk about signs. Let's go back to that. So, the best case scenario for your company is there are no signs. However, we did get a few tidbits on some signs that you could look out for.
We
For
talked about lost business. If you know your company's lost business, then you probably should expect something. How busy are you?
how busy are you? Are the same people put on a PIP, on a performance plan? Is there any talk at the company about restructuring? Are there a lot of closed door meetings happening that maybe wouldn't normally be happening?
Or just certain people talking to each other that if they're talking to each other, something's going on.
And if people get really quiet was another one.
Yeah.
It's almost too quiet. And we find that
Eerie.
yeah, you can kind of feel it. If things are a little too quiet, something's off. And that's another good sign. We also talked to these reps about what's the deal? Are these in person? Are they remote? Email? How does that get decided? This was painful.
It was because I think it's changed so much lately just because of the nature of how many people are actually getting laid off at a time. And you want it to be personal. Honestly, I'm thinking
know.
about it and I don't know how I want it to be. It might be better to be in a room full of people, or not a room, but on a call with a bunch of other people. Then I don't feel as singled out. And I mean, I still am going to be upset. You're going to be upset, but I don't know.
It just
Personally,
wasn't
yeah.
conversation. I had told our HR rep, I was like, just call. Don't make me
Yeah.
don't don't make me come all the way in there. I used to think that. I used to think I would appreciate the sit down.
You'd respect that, or you'd feel more respected.
The okay, so the discomfort we feel though, every HR person we talk to also has the discomfort because this is not a comfortable thing for them to do. They
No.
also understand the value of having an in-person conversation one-on-one and the value of a mass layoff. The bigger the company, the more common that seemed to be. It's time and money to have these meetings, and communication is very clean when you just the company sends out an email or one large Zoom call or whatever platform you use.
And then HR contacts everyone on their own afterward, but rips the Band-Aid off for a bunch of people at the same time and then
Right.
come around and give them all the details later,
Yeah. So they were giving us examples of, okay, well, I had 2,000 people on a call and I had to
which
do,
is
can
insane.
you imagine? No, I can't. And like all of the emotions that you've just triggered with those
Mhm.
2,000 people. Some folks too, it depended on the level. So more junior folks would get the call, the mass call. If they were more senior, they would get the sit down with their manager or management and the HR rep. So the larger the company is, the more likely you are to get that sort of mass call or email. And I hate to say it, it's like a bulk layoff.
Mhm.
That sounds so bad.
Saves money and time
It does,
and
yes. Pretty terrible.
Yep.
Okay. So we learned about the WARN Act during all this. Did you know what this was?
So I had randomly had a conversation, I might have been with you a year ago, and we talked about it, or I talked with someone about it, and It was interesting. I think I misread it though when I initially looked at it, and I thought it was anything over 60 employees. And so it didn't make sense because I felt like I had been a part of some layoffs that were over that and nothing was communicated.
Agreed.
But now that you've actually looked into it and read the details, it's making more sense.
So the WARN Act is very interesting. It is the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act. This is a federal law. Each state may also have a stricter law from there, but this is at the federal level where companies must comply. It's companies with 100 plus employees. So if you're a small business, you have 30 people, this doesn't apply to you. If you're a large business and you are laying off a certain percentage, and there are different levels of what triggers the WARN Act. An example was if it's 33% of your workforce, if it's 100 people that are getting laid off, then you have to notify. So who gets notified? The employee, the state and local government gets notified. And there is a link where you can go state by state and you can see if your company is listed. So if you have layoffs coming up, you can be checking. They have to inform this list 60 days.
60 days. Did you read how far in advance they have to alert the employee?
60 days.
It's the same.
For everybody.
And so they actually have to tell I didn't know this part.
Yeah.
They actually have to tell the employee,
Yes.
like via email within the next 60 or after 60 days, we're going to have layoffs.
Yes, and the state might have stricter rules as well. So it depends on where you live and where the company is that you're working for.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So what they're doing is they're trying to protect the employee. It's also public. Companies don't want this to be public because then it might show that the company's shuttering. It might impact business. It might show that there's a revenue loss where they have to do layoffs. And so companies try to avoid
being sneaky about it, like the number of people they're laying off at a time if they can help it.
And the states are catching on to that. So there are now rules about rolling layoffs. So even
interesting.
So if this is 60 days now, there's a 90-day window. So it just depends on your state. I think there will be backlash that this isn't even doing enough. I think this is going to get further clarified and reworked. But for now, that's the WARN Act, the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act. Very interesting. It's just something to help prepare employees, and also it's probably good for notifying unemployment. Let's talk about how people get picked to be laid off.
Don't take it personal. If it's a one-off and you're getting fired, then you probably
That's
something like it's personal. There might be things you can take out of it, whatever. But if it's a layoff or mass layoff, you can't, it's not you, it's them. It's their budget. It was a number that they had to hit, and you were just part of the number.
And a task that was assigned. And I will say some of the folks talked about if you are a rock star employee, if you're making the company money, if you are hitting quota or whatever it is that you're doing, the company might fight for you and try to
reallocate
you. But otherwise, there's not a ton there's definitely nothing you can do ahead of time. And so they're trying to meet a number and to not take it so personally. And we mentioned this, but know that a lot of eyes have viewed this.
It's a number, and then that number equates to a list, and then that list goes past the eyes of a few people to make sure legally they're good to let you go, and then really that a team can lose you or the company can lose you. I mean, there's lots of different things, and people are looking at that list and going over it to make sure everything is good.
It's like Santa, but
not in a good way.
Okay, how does someone get flagged or to not be on the layoff list? Well, are they on leave? Are they on medical leave? You can't be touched while you are on medical leave. There's really no window once you get back. Companies might honor 2 weeks, a month, but no rule. It's just while you're on leave, you are safe. They will also look at things like age, race, gender. We had some interesting conversations about mass layoffs, how they might look at, okay, well, if
the list and breaking it out, like, are there a lot of old people on that list? Are there a lot of people? I mean, if I'm on the list, I'm old. I'm probably
over 40. Okay, do they have a lot of over 40? Are there multiple of one ethnicity that's a concern or one gender that's a concern? All that gets looked at, which is,
I mean, it's covering their butts from a legal perspective.
it feels
it feels gross. Like, it feels really gross.
And I understand the rules are in place to protect all of us as protected class. but it feels very uncomfortable. But that was consistent across the board that these things get reviewed, these lists get reviewed for all different demographics and status. All right. And then who's in the room when we're making final decisions here? HR, legal, maybe the managers,
Yeah.
resourcing, but we asked who has the final say. So after the list goes through all of those people, the company's executive team has the final say.
They have
Now,
to say yes or no.
they have to say yes or no. A company like ours, that's great because they know us, we're small enough. If you're working for a very large company like a Google, that's
That's got to be rough because there's no way they know.
gonna
There's no personal relationships.
legal, right? They're not going to know who you are. You were literally just a line on a spreadsheet, and they're going to say, okay, great. And they're probably just looking at skill set or service offering. Okay, what do you think doesn't matter as much as people think?
Um, Anything personally related to you. I think it's more of the dollar amount, like your salary.
Okay, fun fact.
I don't know. What are you gonna?
Your salary in most cases doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter if you think you make too much money. In some cases, sure, they're trying to hit a number and maybe your salary is getting cut. However, it's more often based on your skill set or whatever the need is versus the salary. Now, we did get talked to about a lot of restructuring, maybe if teams are too top heavy. So if you're part of that senior team, you're making a lot of money, it's too top heavy, that might have a play. But in general, the money that you make doesn't usually matter. Isn't that interesting?
That is really interesting to me because you always hear they get a dollar amount and they have to hit the dollar amount. So,
So if someone's making 300K,
and it's like the perfect
right.
amount.
Yeah, cut the three. Anyway, but no, that was the feedback we got is the money doesn't, that's not the priority with the layoffs is yes, a number, but not necessarily attached to someone's particular salary. That's not a concern as much as people give that. And I was one of those people. So that was very interesting. Okay, we also asked, what if you want to be laid off?
Can you opt in?
Can you opt in? We talked about this a little bit, not layoff, but about taking a step back at work with Kate and Nuri in that episode, how they had those conversations and who they went to first. And in this case, because it's so sensitive, skip the manager, go straight to HR. Have the conversation with HR, let them know. We've known people who wanted to retire or they were just tired and just wanted to take a break, take some paid time off, figure it out. And so they raised their hand.
Why not, instead of retiring, be laid off and get a severance and have some time, some buffer before you're fully retired?
And some companies will offer the layoff as an option. Take the package, and you get volunteers first, right? So that's one way to do it is we're offering this package. Here are the benefits of this, the severance details. Volunteer to take it, and then they'll do mandatory layoffs after that if they still don't hit that number. That I think that puts a lot of pressure on the people who are left behind, but I also love that.
I think it's great. It's a good way for someone to go out, like
Right.
to be able to have that buffer and
If they're unhappy or they know this is coming for them no
yeah.
matter what at some point, okay, well, I'm going to take the known. I'm going to take the money now, make a plan, and save someone who really needs the job that doesn't
Mhm.
have something back, their back pocket yet. I think that's a really good way to do it if you're going to have to do it. Um, and then those severance packages, ours is bleak where we are.
It used to not be, but it is now. And
And
I get it. Keeping stakeholders happy. And I think more and more it makes more sense with mass layoffs specifically to be to give less and to really stick to your guns and not make exceptions for anything. But
everything's technically negotiable, but it doesn't always work. Not
mm-mm.
every company is willing to negotiate. It's funny because more than one HR rep told us that they will just ignore
Yeah,
the negotiation.
they just don't answer and then you're at the point where you either have to sign or not sign. So
We just
you
use a time frame. Wait, let's get into that. This was so interesting. I didn't know how all of this worked. Okay. There is what's called OWBPA, Older Workers Benefit Protection Act. And this is for folks 40 and over. And this puts requirements. And again, this is at the federal level. There are also state level restrictions, which in some cases might be stricter than the federal law. Okay, so if you are over 40 and you are an individual getting laid off, so you're not part of a mass layoff, it's just you, lucky you get 21 days to review and then 7 days of a revocation period, meaning you can revoke, even if you've signed, you can revoke the agreement. That 7 days can never be waived. That is by law. You have to have that 7-day window. If you are part of a mass layoff and you're over 40, there is a 45-day review period plus the 7-day revocation window. If you're under 40, there's no time frame requirement.
That's so crazy.
Isn't that crazy? But most companies will give them the 21 days.
That's interesting. Okay. That's nice.
It's nice.
It seems very discriminatory.
Okay. We're going backwards, y'all. We've gone the wrong way. We've overforced.
I mean, as a 40 plus
Yeah.
human, I love that I get more time to really think about it. And
39-year-olds.
I feel like that's not fair.
I'd like the time.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that we kind of joked about with some of these folks is like, who has 45 days to
Yeah.
not get paid, right? So
You want that severance, you're going to sign that paperwork as quickly as
sooner
you
you
can.
sign it, the sooner the benefits kick in. So you want to maximize that. And I don't think you can claim unemployment. Maybe you can when this is all said and done.
You can. You can't. I feel like we've been talking about this. As soon as you get laid off, you can go
Claim
apply
your
unemployment.
first full day, claim
Yeah.
unemployment. So if you want the money, which will be taxed as a bonus,
But that takes a while too. Sorry.
it takes a while, and that can be, it could come as a lump sum, or the company could pay it out based on their pay schedule. It just depends on the company. But the sooner you sign, the sooner it kicks in. So if you need the money, you should consider signing sooner than later, and you will always have that 7-day revocation period where you could go back and say, just kidding. And then your severance agreement is null and void, period. So that was very interesting to me. I didn't know that even existed. And this is to give you time to kind of go through, review the terms. Also, really review the terms. That was another thing that came up, is a lot of people get the agreement, they sign it, they don't review, and then they go posting on LinkedIn. And they are complaining, or they're acknowledging that they got laid off. And some of these agreements say you cannot say that publicly, or they can revoke your severance agreement.
You have to be careful.
Yeah. So that was a big red flag for some of these HR reps, was don't go online posting things. If you're going to post, you're posting about your job search, your skill set, but don't go posting about, I got laid off, or complaining about the company. You want to be very careful. Make sure that you read that agreement very thoroughly, because there's language in there about what you can and cannot do, and language that is there to protect the former employee as well. And that post can get flagged, that can get sent to HR, that can get sent to legal. There is a responsibility for a manager, especially depending on your company, how strict your company is, to report that. So
Sometimes I've heard of cases where somebody posted something and their company gave them some grace and said, hey, you need to take that down because you're putting yourself at risk of losing your severance. And they kind of get a heads up, but that's not always the case. And so definitely pay attention to that language and follow.
And to be very careful with what you're saying and who you talk to after and how you talk to them, because even if they're your office bestie, they might say something to the wrong person, and that can come back around too. It just depends on your severance agreement, the language, but also in some cases, people get laid off because of a restructuring or a contract that ends, but that comes back. So if there's a chance that you're going to go back, be as professional as possible.
Don't burn the bridge.
And that includes being really careful with what you're saying to your besties at work, because
you never know
what's going to happen, what's going to come up, or they're talking about it with your other friends at work and someone else hears it walking.
Yeah.
You just have to be really careful and keep it professional through the very end. We talked about this on the episode with Allison of what to do after a layoff and what happens to your benefits, to any remaining, let's say you have a bonus coming up, or you have equity or shares that are about to vest. A company may or may not be paying attention to those details for you. You have to advocate for yourself.
Yep.
And
it won't hurt to ask.
The worst they can say is no, or ignore you, apparently.
Yeah.
Is the move. But advocate for yourself. Let's say you have shares vesting you were a month away, right? You need to work something out with them. At least say, I've put in X amount of time. This was a benefit I was really happy about, excited about. Is there anything we can do to make sure that gets honored? I had a bonus coming 2 weeks from now. I'd very much like for that to be part of my severance package. So it'll still get taxed like a bonus anyway. So ask for those things. Some companies pay out your unused PTO, some companies don't. Now, here's the thing, there's no law requiring severance whatsoever from a company. Most companies, the bare minimum, if they're a large company, is 12 weeks. That for the HR reps that we talked to who work at bigger companies, that was pretty standard, a 12-week separation agreement.
And some are better. Just depends.
Depends on your tenure. It depends on the company, but there's no law saying they have to give you severance. So this is a good benefit to have.
Even if it feels like it's not that great,
Keep it in mind that this is,
it could be nothing. And then with health insurance specifically, sometimes they'll give you 2 weeks or a month, and then you'll flip to Cobra. And for the first year, correct me here, but for the first year,
you pay the actual rate. So it depends
yeah,
on your company. So most companies will give you finish out the month, or you get a month, or maybe it's 60 days of Cobra at a reduced rate. So it's the active rate. It's not what you were paying before, but it's what the company pays. And then after that, you go to the standard Cobra rate.
then
Go back to that.
and then pay attention. I know this is what I'm trying to think about from Allison is you have to pay attention because if open enrollment comes up, you can change your elections via Cobra and maybe go to a lesser tier if you don't want to pay as much money. Say you had a really great insurance plan through the company and you had to pay that through Cobra, you can take it down a notch if you want to, or forget and then end up paying lots of money for it.
Definitely go back and listen to the episode
I know.
with McNerney because she breaks all this down. She learned some hard lessons. She walked so we could run.
Yep.
So go back and listen to her episode where she had the healthcare experience of a lifetime last year because of this and missing windows. Okay, but let's talk about that. What happens after beyond health insurance? So your employer is not responsible to hold your hand or to do anything for you once you are handed that severance agreement. Their responsibility is to get that signed agreement from you and close the loop there, right? If you're getting information from them, that's very nice. Very nice to have.
Yep.
We gave our checklist on lessthanexpert.com, so you have some guidance there on what to do. I started digging more into unemployment. This is wild. I've never thought to look into this. So you file the claim, in the state of Texas, you file the claim your first full day of unemployment. Your previous employer will get notified and then they confirm, yes, they were laid off. Yes, they were fired.
Or they can fight. They can fight it.
They
Too,
can
right?
fight it. So if you go on really bad terms, they can fight it and say, yeah, this was a safety issue. We're not paying this, because here's how this works. The employer pays into unemployment. It's considered insurance for the company. So the employer, not the employee, pays into unemployment. It's based on part of the Federal Unemployment Tax Act. Employers pay 6% on the first $7,000 of each employee's wages per year. Then employers pay their state. Unemployment is both federal and state working together. So they pay the federal tax rate 6% on the first $7,000. Then they pay the state unemployment tax, but if they pay on time, they can get credit. So the tax rate is variable, meaning it can change. So if companies are laying people off, like Snap just laid off 1,000 people, their tax rate is going to go up. And the reason for that is to deter companies from doing layoffs.
Interesting.
Yeah, wild, right? I had no idea. Now, the state layer, SUTA, this is where the real money comes in. So every state has a trust fund, and employers pay the state tax rate into the trust fund. And every state's different. So California, obviously, is going to be much higher than the $7,000 federal floor. And then again, the rates are variable. So based on how often they're doing layoffs, what the company's up to with their employees, it can impact their
That's
rate.
interesting. So is that how because part of my question with this whole thing is if employers are paying into it, I mean, they're having mass layoffs. How are we not running out of money in that fund? And is it because of the variable tax rate and then based on,
Well, because they pay into it for every single employee.
yeah,
And if they're only laying off, I say only, let's say they're laying off 6%, right? They've paid into this benefit, which is accruing interest because it's set up as a fund I don't know how the state or federal government invests it, but it'll be earning interest.
Yeah. I'm
So
curious how they also determine what they pay out for each employee. Is it a standard amount based on your previous income?
So when you apply for unemployment, you're filing in the state where you worked, not necessarily where you live, but the state in which you worked. It's online, takes 30 to 45 minutes. The state will investigate. So the state will notify your former employer. They can contest the claim like we talked about. Okay, here's how you're qualified. If you're laid off through no fault of your own, you meet minimum earning thresholds during a base period. So usually first 4 of the last 5 completed calendar quarters. So you have to have been with the company for a little bit of time.
Okay.
You are actively available for and seeking work, and you're not turning down suitable job offers.
So yeah, I have heard you do have to prove you're applying to jobs
Yeah.
and
To collect your unemployment. If you quit voluntarily or you're fired for misconduct, you do not qualify. And that is when a company will contest your application for unemployment.
interesting.
Okay, so let's say, how is it calculated? It's state by state. In Texas, the state will look at your wages during the base period and calculate a weekly benefit. So it's a 25th of your highest quarter earnings, capped at $563 a week. So if you
Yikes.
earned $50,000 in your highest quarter, you'd get $563 max
Per week? Or
per week.
oh man.
So let's say 563 a week, that's about $29,000 for the year.
Okay.
So
That'd be rough.
it's nice to have, but not, that doesn't.
It makes sense to a degree to be pushing the person to go out and actually find employment. Like if you're
Absolutely.
getting a ton of money, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Texas has a 1-week unpaid waiting period before the benefits start. So the first week you're eligible, you file, but you won't get paid for that first week. The benefits will kick in the second week. So
Gotcha.
you have to prepare for that too. And again, if you're waiting to sign that separation agreement, that's another delay with your severance. You have to certify every 2 weeks. So you won't just automatically get the check. You have to certify, and this could vary state by state, but typically every 2 weeks that you were available for work, that you actively searched for jobs, and you didn't turn down anything that's suitable. If you skip the certification, the benefits will immediately stop.
Interesting.
You will likely get paid via direct deposit or some kind of state debit card that they issue you through this agreement. Payments come roughly every 2 weeks after certification. There's no paper check anymore. And you can get the benefits up to 26 weeks. Again, could vary state by state. That's for the state of Texas, up to 26 weeks. Texas will adjust the number of available weeks based on the statewide unemployment rate.
Oh,
It's been as low as 14 to 20 weeks before.
what's the highest?
26 weeks.
Okay.
That's where we are now. And that's where the state of Texas was during COVID as well. And this does get taxed like a bonus. Talk to your accountant.
It's taxed like a bonus?
Yes.
What?
You can opt to have 10% withheld automatically, which honestly, if you talk to a financial advisor or a CPA, they'll probably recommend that you do, but be prepared to get a tax bill in April for your unemployment and your severance if you don't automatically withhold.
Have the tax withheld. Interesting.
So that's unemployment. I really just, the things we didn't know, right? But interesting in how companies pay into it, the amount, how the amounts are all worked out. It's very incentivizing for the employee to continue to look for work. I think that's good. I still wish that you got a little bit more of a buffer because, we live in Austin. Austin is not.
No, it's
City.
expensive. And health insurance in general, too. The fact that you're having to pay so much for Cobra. I don't know.
Does that even cover what you're paying in Cobra?
No.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Pretty scary.
Let's take a quick ad break so we can tell you about some of our fantastic ad partners that we have on the podcast. We have partnered with Aquila Sunglasses and Eyewear for 10% off of our listeners. So I will be checking that out. Have you checked out their site?
I have looked at their site. They've got lots of cute styles.
Very cute. It feels very LA, very on trend, nice styles, nice
Yeah.
options. I feel like I could be, like Hailey Bieber.
Cute.
I could never. I'm here for it though. Yeah, so for our listeners, Aquila sunglasses 10% off on their website, aquila.la, using the promo code LTE at checkout. I have been trying to find the ultimate matcha brand in the ultimate matcha coffee shop in Austin. I think I may have found a really good online option for us with Mantra Matcha. So this is premium Japanese matcha. The site is adorable. They have great products, accessories, and different matcha blends. And you can get 15% off using the promo code LTE at mantramatcha.com. Am I going to spell it for them? I am. Ready? mantramatcha.com. Enter discount code LTE for your 15% off. We found a fantastic sports bra company called Handful. Get it? We love their sports bras. I am very particular. I know you are too.
I am, yes.
Yeah, we need something that has good support, but it's not going to suffocate you. It's not going to make you feel nauseous from having something too tight. Handful has a really great mission. They started their company to help women after reconstructive breast surgery, and they help shape and lift your chest. The bra itself that I got is the cute little mesh front
It is
zip
really
one.
cute.
It's so cute and it's very comfortable, but it supports me. So if I'm going for a run, I feel like I'm not going to get back pain from that. So handful.com, enter the promo code LTE and get 30% off at checkout.
Some final takeaways that we got pretty consistent. Remember that your HR reps, your managers, they're human too, that this is miserable for them. They don't sleep the night before. They're probably sweating when they're doing
They feel sick. They feel horrible.
Yeah. And
Ugh.
so it's bad on both sides of the table and for everyone involved, and to take care of yourself. If that's talk to a friend, talk to a therapist, have a glass of wine, do what you need to do to gentle care for yourself.
And take a breath. Don't go crazy. Don't go posting something horrible, or don't ruin your good name.
It's in your home, not on the internet.
Yeah. Or in the room with the HR rep.
That was another one that to remain composed as much as possible. It is emotional for everyone. Keep it together. Don't go. It's a big red flag if you go out cursing, if you're posting about it, if you're reaching out and saying negative things. That's a big red flag. It could follow you to your next role, and to just not do that. A reminder that the company is not responsible for your next steps. That's where Less Than Expert comes in to help you out and give you some.
Hopefully, we're helping you and ourselves.
That was we had several HR discussions. This has been months in the making. We appreciate all of you who are tuning in.
Sorry it took so long.
Yeah, we really hustled, but this took a while. This was very sensitive conversations that we had to have. And we're so grateful for you for listening and for your patience. If you like this podcast, please go on the App Store, rate, review, send us a note.
Like us, follow us.
Let us know what else
Please.
you'd like to hear. All of that matters. It makes a big difference. And we are trying to keep the content going here. So we will see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this podcast.